In our world, there exists a category of creature that defies explanation. They are glimpsed by a few, whispered about in local lore, but never officially recognized by science. We call these beings UMAs, unidentified mysterious animals. Welcome to our UMA series. Today, we're delving into one of America's most unsettling urban legends, a creature born from the crossroads of science and nightmare, the Goatman. It's described as having the face of a man but the body of a goat. Horns curl from its head, its body is covered in thick fur, and it stands over 7 feet tall. It walks upright, moves with terrifying speed, and is driven by a brutal, violent nature, often sighted in the depths of remote forests. You've likely seen variations of this creature in movies, games, and art. But where did the story of this monster truly begin? If you search for the origins of the Goatman, you'll find that sightings have been reported across North America since World War II. But the most famous and chilling version of the tale comes from the early 1970s in Maryland. The story centers on the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center in Prince George's County. According to the legend, a scientist named Stephen Fletcher was conducting radical DNA experiments, attempting to crossbreed the genetic material of goats and humans. An experiment went horribly wrong, accidentally fusing his own assistant with a goat, creating a monstrous half-man, half-beast hybrid. The creature lost all reason. It escaped the facility and began roaming the backroads of Beltsville, armed with an axe, attacking cars and terrorizing anyone who crossed its path. Of course, this bizarre story was never officially confirmed, but in the context of the Cold War era, a time when the public was deeply suspicious of secret government experiments with biological weapons, the tale found fertile ground. Many people believed it was not just possible, but plausible. Local residents claim the story started even earlier, back in the 1950s, with whispers of a humanoid monster stalking the woods, including the Upper Marlboro ghost sighting in 1957 and a gruesome case in 1962 where a monster was blamed for the deaths of 12 children and 2 adults. The legend exploded into the mainstream in October 1971. The local Prince George's County News published an article by journalist Karen Hosler investigating the folklore archives at the University of Maryland, which specifically mentioned the Goatman legend. 2 weeks later, Hosler published a follow-up piece detailing a recent, terrifying incident. It was the story of a family whose dog, Ginger, had suddenly vanished. When they found the dog, all that was left was its headless body. The most disturbing part? A group of young girls who lived nearby reported hearing horrible, high-pitched shrieks the night Ginger disappeared. They also claimed to have seen a large, dark creature walking on its hind legs. Although the article speculated that Ginger might have been killed by a passing train, the dog's owner, Edwards, was convinced the Goatman had taken his beloved pet. After this story broke, reports of the Goatman flooded in, and the media began to dig up every sighting and rumor they could find. How many of these stories were true? That's impossible to know. The Goatman legend isn't confined to Maryland. A terrifying variation appears in Kentucky with a different name, the Pope Lick Monster. Since the 1960s, the community of Louisville, Kentucky has passed down a frightening tale about a creature that lives beneath a railway trestle over Pope Lick Creek. It is described as a grotesque mix of man and goat, with a horned head and powerful, fur-covered legs ending in hooves. They say the monster uses hypnosis, or mimics voices, to lure unsuspecting people onto the bridge. Once they're trapped on the high, narrow tracks, the rumble of an approaching train seals their fate. Others say the creature itself attacks people with a blood-stained axe, scaring them so badly that they jump from the bridge to their deaths. While the monster is a legend, the danger is very real. That trestle is an active railway line, and over the years, its deadly reputation has attracted thrill-seekers. Tragically, a number of people have been killed or severely injured by trains while trying to cross it, including a 6-year-old tourist in 2016 and a 5-year-old girl in 2019. The legend has claimed real lives. The origin of the Pope Lick monster is just as murky. One story claims it was a circus freak, a goat boy who was horribly mistreated and escaped after a train derailment caused by a lightning strike, seeking revenge on humanity. I looked into this and found a real circus, the Ringling Bros, and Barnum and Bailey Circus, that did travel through the area, run by a man named C.P. Syle Kirk, who was known for showcasing freaks and oddities. Could a human with a birth defect have been the seed of this legend? Another, darker tale says the monster is the result of a farmer who, in exchange for demonic powers, sacrificed his goats to Satan. These rituals twisted him into the beast that now haunts the trestle. Our journey takes us south now, to Texas, where another version of the creature surfaced. In July of 1969, newspapers in Fort Worth reported that multiple people had seen a monster near Lake Worth. They described a half-man, half-goat creature covered in white fur. It allegedly jumped onto one man's car and threw a tire at a group of witnesses. The creature became known as the Lake Worth Monster. A local man named Alan Plaster even captured a blurry photograph of a large, white, furry beast. For decades, the photo remained a piece of local folklore, but the mystery was finally solved. Decades later, in 2006, Plaster admitted it was all a prank. He and some friends had faked the whole thing for a laugh. Yet, even with this confession, some cryptozoologists, like the late Greg Bishop, still believe that the original sightings were genuine and that the monster was a real, undiscovered primate. It seems that once a good monster story takes root, even the truth can't always pull it out. So, does the Goatman truly exist? While the stories are compelling, the concept of a half-man, half-goat creature is not new. In fact, it's ancient. In Greek mythology, there was Pan, the god of the wild, shepherds, and flocks. He had the legs and horns of a goat and was associated with nature, music, and chaos. The Romans had their own version, Faunus. Egyptian mythology had the ram-headed creator god Khnum. In Celtic lore, there was the horned god Cernunnos. From the demonic figure Baphomet to countless nature spirits and devils in folklore across the globe, the image of a horned, cloven-hoofed humanoid is deeply embedded in the human psyche. So, what is the Goatman? From a scientific perspective, human and goat DNA are fundamentally incompatible, making a hybrid creature a genetic impossibility. This directly debunks the lab experiment origin story. As technology has advanced with cameras on every phone and surveillance everywhere, credible sightings have dwindled. It's highly likely that the legend is a modern folklore creation, fueled by misidentification, pranks, and a deep-seated, ancient fear of the dark woods and the unknown creatures that might live there. The figures seen in the dark were likely just people, perhaps hermits or pranksters in costume. The idea of our ancestors wearing animal skins and horns as symbols of power or for shamanic rituals could also explain why this image is so primal to us. The Goatman isn't a real creature of flesh and blood, but a shadow cast by our own history and our own fears. To this day, the image of the horned man-beast continues to appear in our stories, our movies, and our games. Our fascination with it has never faded. And while we may never find a real Goatman, the legend itself serves as a chilling reminder. Some mysteries are born not in the wild, but within our own minds. Unknown will always be greater than the known. And that is the enduring magic of the UMA.